Hello, everybody. Road Warrior 627 here, back for another Thoroughbred Racing preview. Today, finally, we're going to talk about the track I really care about. Beautiful Belmont Park is back in full force. And we've got the first big day of the meet to talk about here. It's day number 7, and it's the day of the Man of War. We got 11 races on tap, normal post time of 1 o'clock. And I think it's a pretty tough card, so we'll talk about it. In fact, a lot of these races I don't think I can make much money on, but I kind of semi promised that I would do this card, and I'm going to wind up at the track anyway this day, so I may as well talk about it. But I do need a little bit of help, so tonight's guest to talk about it, he's been on here plenty of times so far, but now he's back again. It's Dennis Trusty, everybody.
Ta-da! Oh, glad to be back as always, Andrew. This is where it all started for me with my videos and stuff. So, uh, yeah, glad to be back as always, and can't wait to look at this card with you. See if we match up or if we have different opinions.
Yeah, well, let's see how it turns out. If I don't have too many opinions, so we'll see how much actually match up. The first race is a low level race at 6 furlongs on the dirt, which immediately means I don't like it. I kind of felt like this race goes through the 4 and the 5. I have a little bit of a soft spot for Ragtime Blues. He's made me money on a couple of occasions. I think this level he can win at, but I'm not completely sure. He's got the numbers to be there. The 5 consistently is putting up figures that probably puts him over the top. And you got David Jacobson back, who's hitting at a pretty good level. 25 wins
Hmm.
in his return in 2023, 21% win percentage. What do you think, Dennis? I kind of think it's a little bit chalky in here.
For me, I don't really trust the five first off the bat. I mean, ran at Penn National last time, does have good figures though. But 6 to 5, yeah, sure it can win, but we ain't gonna make no money off that.
Hell
So I
no.
like the four. I like the four Ragtime Blues. I do. I think out of all the speed, I think this horse is the only one that can actually sit behind it and wait. Um, but between the 6 and the 3 and the 4, I think the 4 can sit behind it. Then I would have to say the 5 because I mean, there's no way you cannot say the 5. I don't think coming in here on a back-to-back win streak and has won 4 out of his last 5 and really knows off of 5 out of his last 6. So you have to like the 5 in there. I agree. And I think if you're going to go outside of that, um, I find it really interesting that the 8 got claimed for 45,000 from Linda Rice to, I mean, a technically lower class barn, but a capable barn still in Patrick Reynolds, and the 8 is Cicely K. Um, and fits in this condition because of one race last year that it won by 11 lengths by. So, yeah, I kind of think the 8's a little interesting as well.
Yeah, that horse shows up on occasion. I really don't like the last 2 races, but hell, maybe a return to Belmont and not seeing Aqueduct so many times. This horse ran how many times at Aqueduct? Like 10 frickin'
Oh,
times? Silly
I can't
kid.
even count.
Yeah,
I'd take the over.
how about a change of scenery? And plus, you get, I believe, the outside post in these kind of sprint races is usually a good place to be. And you get Franco, who, as
Yep,
much as I hate him sometimes, he's riding pretty much as good as anybody else. So I would
yep.
definitely consider
So,
that horse. Again, soft spot for the 4 Ragtime Blues for me. If I had to make a top pick, it'd probably be him. I think, yeah, it's hard to beat the 5. Especially if last time he was ridden out last time though. It wasn't a workout 2 to 5, so
yeah.
we'll see what happens in that first race there. A race that I don't plan on
Hmm.
betting a lot of money on. Race
Yeah.
2 is a high level allowance, 7 furlongs on the Widener. I think there's a lot of places to go in here, Dennis. Where'd you wind up?
I mean, for me in this race, I'll be completely honest, this might be a pass race for me. On the day of recording, I mean, if I had to say something on the show, since we don't do many of these anymore, I'll go to the 5 as a price, and that might be the only thing that keeps me interested in this race. The horse ran at Gulfstream a lot, didn't do good. Won at Belmont at Aqueduct. Has ran better on the turf in New York than he has in Florida. It's kind of a maybe. Needs a lot of help, but who would you go to if you had to pick this race?
Yeah, the first thing I wrote when I was writing down my notes for this race was skip.
Yeah,
I don't like this race at
that's fair.
all, really, either. In fact, I might like this even better than the last one. I do think the 2 is very logical, getting an inside post with Jose Ortiz for Linda Rice. Everybody knows I hate Linda Rice. I don't like picking her horses. I think this horse is a little bit logical, though. Ran a nice race last time out to get up and win convincingly by 2 on the dirt. Now, this is a switch to the turf, but Linda historically doesn't really
Hmm.
have that great of numbers switching dirt to turf out of a 43 sample size. But I don't think this field's anything outstanding, so I don't really care. And you're going to see a lot of horses doing this regardless. I do think the 5 is a little bit interesting. I did give him a peek. And, down at Gulfstream, it's not really turf anyway. It's sort of turf.
Not
So
really.
yeah, so this is of course gets back to real turf. The Belmont turf courses are an excellent. And one more thing about surface switches: if the 8 Bill Mott's horse can transfer his form over to
Yep.
the turf, this race just might be over. But we don't know if
Yeah,
that's going to happen.
that, that's what I was gonna say. Is I mean, people who know me, I like highlighting the smaller jockeys and stuff. And not saying Eric can't sell the smaller jockey, but compared to other household names at Belmont and in New York, he's on the smaller side. Um, and I feel so scared for him because if this horse don't like turf, he might not ever ride this horse again, which is sad because he's not done anything wrong on the horse. Um, but I don't think this horse is gonna like grass, in my opinion. And that's what I was gonna ask you. Was the last thing I was gonna say is, do you think this horse can win on the grass? If I said today, you have to say yes or no. Where would you go to?
I'm gonna probably, as a safe bet, I would say no. It's got the horse. He's got a bunch of just dirt pedigree up there. Another thing, though, you got to
Yeah.
consider with Mott. Mott historically, if you, I'm not talking about the stats you see at the bottom of the PPs here, because they're not
Mm-hmm.
good. Mott usually switches surfaces pretty well. So I don't know about that. I don't know if he saw something last time in the Carter, because let's face it, this horse ran in the Carter handicap last time and only got beat 4.5 lengths.
Mm-hmm.
This horse would be a short price in a dirt race. Why is he running on the turf? I have no idea. It's very
Yep.
peculiar to me, but he is Bill Mott. I definitely think 2-1 is a joke, though. You can't take 2-1 on this horse.
No, no. And you will get a better price on this horse because, like I said, it's Eric Cancel. But I don't know how much better you. I'd have to at least get 5-1. So I completely agree with you on that.
And I completely agree with 5-1. That's a very good number. I agree with that. Okay, we're going to move on to the
Yep.
third race as we're going to try and move things along here. Really, just for me in here, I'm going to try an old friend in this race again, number 3, Midnight Worker. We've been watching this horse for a long time, and we really could have used him to get up for second on March 4th when we were at the racetrack because my horse, Brajol, won the race, and my dad's horse, Midnight Worker, who's this horse, finished third. We had an exacta with those two. It would have been
Mm-hmm.
really nice if that horse got, but that didn't happen. I'm gonna go to him in a race where again these are not your good horses. These are the horses that kind of keep the races going here. So you have to respect them for that. I always have appreciation for these claimers, but I do think they're like the hardest races to handicap. So I'm just gonna give him a little shot with Castellano getting up for the first time.
Derby winning jockey Castellano.
Yeah, you see, this is the first year in like 7 years I haven't done a Derby preview on this channel. So, yeah, I kind of even forgot to even talk about the Derby. So, yes, congratulations, Castellano. I still don't think you're that great, but congratulations.
It's well deserved at least. I gotta admit it is well deserved. But I kind of like Midnight Worker as well. I think that horse should be tough. Um, but let me ask you a question: is Midnight Worker like a hooker, or is that just in my head? Am I just thinking wrong?
Midnight worker is what my dad used to be. He worked the 12 a.m. to 8 a.m. shift
Well,
in
no, I'm
Manhattan.
well. That might be true. That might be true. But I'm talking about a slang term. Could that be a slang, or is that just
No, no, it could
me going
absolutely
wrong?
be, and it's a nice way to try to sneak past the Jockey Club. So I really like this name.
So
Yeah, I think they probably did name it after. I shouldn't say it. I don't like
yeah,
calling horses it. They probably named him after a prostitute. Yeah.
yeah. It's funny. I mean, I was just wondering. I mean, I know it's a him. It should be a her probably, but you never know. Well, I mean, Rapoli had the horse. You never know what he's into. I mean,
Yeah.
not judging.
Feel bad for. I don't know the whole thing about Forte. I was upset he got scratched from the Derby.
Yeah, yep. The only other horse I could even talk about in here might be the 5 for Noda. Back in for 25,000. Every time the horse is running for claiming races, did nothing wrong in my opinion. Um, Even the 40,000 where it finished fifth by 5, still did nothing wrong. I think that's the only other horse I could even consider was the 3 and the 5.
Yeah, and Irad maintains the mount despite running poorly last time. So that's something to note
Yeah.
too. All right, so we're gonna move on to the fourth race. This is the last race before we get two big ones in a row. And this one, I literally wrote on my paper, no opinions. So, do you have anything, Dennis?
I have a little bit here. I do use a lot of angles in this starter allowance $50,000 race. So examples are like the one who the claiming 40 race finished second, ran basically a winning race, and then came back and ran second and first for the same tag. Um, then you got horses like let me see here. Another example is like the 4, only time in for a claiming tag at 1, and it got claimed. I love that angle going into starter allowance because starter allowance for a lot of people out there. I mean, some of you probably know, some might not. It's a race for horses that ran for 50,000 or less at some point, and that's it. I mean, that's your condition. So, um, I like the 4. I think the 4 will be my top pick here in Magical Ways at 8-1 for David Jacobson off the claim. And we all know how good that angle is. I know it's not on the program says good, but consistently was good. And then after that, I go to the 7, uh, Little Bro Coop. Um, and then really after that, I'd go to the 1. So for me, Magical Ways on the 4, Little Bro Coop on the 7, and then the 1. Uh, Mandatory.
Well, you heard it from Dennis, guys. I'll make some more opinions on this race as Saturday draws nearer. Here we go. We got the fifth. We got the Man of War. It's a big race, and I have to start the conversation here because my favorite horse that's running horse races right now is running in this race, and that's Channel Maker. And I want to say something about Channel Maker. I thought after his third straight year of beating all the American males in the Breeders' Cup that they should have just retired him. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
why they brought him back. He's not the same horse that he used to be. But I still love him. And I'm going to be betting him in this race. And I don't care. This is my horse crush. I love this guy. I love this guy for a long time. And I'm going to give him another chance today. Here's the thing with his jockey. So Joel Rosario might be the jockey I hate the most out of all the jockeys in the world.
That's fair.
And now, normally, what Joel Rosario does is he goes towards the back of the pack and then he tries to save ground. He runs into traffic on the far turn and he finishes third or something like that. He's not going to do that with Channel Maker because Rosario, when he is told to send a horse, he will send a horse. And this horse
Yeah.
is going to get sent because there is no other speed in this race that's going to run with him. And probably the way he's run everybody's going to dismiss it. I hope that a little bit shorter distance will work for him. I think 6-1 is an absolutely horrible price on. I think it should probably be in the 15-1 range to wire this field. But he's going to get to do what he wants. First time in a while today. He's going to go to the lead. And I hope he does it all the way around. I'm going to let Dennis talk about his opinions next, but there's for sure a few horses in here, especially one notable one who's coming in here that have a much more realistic chance of winning. But those are my 2 cents on my favorite horse.
All right, that's actually really good though. We all are fans at the end of the day. I mean, we might like betting on them a lot more, but we're fans at the end of the day, so totally respect that thought. Um, the horse that's probably Andrew's referring to is the Charles Appleby shipper from overseas is Warren Point, correct?
Yeah, unfortunately. I wish I had a
Yeah.
better idea. I do have a few other ideas, but you say your piece first.
Well, I got one other idea too. But I'll get to that in a second as well. Uh, does Godolphin just run the horse racing world?
Oh, they sort of do, and I don't like it, but it is what it is.
Uh, it is what it is. I mean, it's to the point as bettors we have to understand. I mean, they got every division locked up. I mean, I'm sorry. They might win every Breeders' Cup race this year, and it might be very sad. Uh, unless you're a Godolphin worker or something like that. But oh, and this is just another one in their notch. I mean, this horse done nothing wrong. 7 starts, 4 wins, 2 seconds, and 1/3. Always runs good. Gonna be hard to beat, but can be beat. So let's see who can beat him. I actually think Howe Street or Howie Street can maybe bounce back after that race at Keeneland. Made a middle move, tired out a little bit. I really don't think that's what this horse wanted to do. I kind of think that this horse might just want to sit about fifth and make one run. I don't think that the horse is a grinded out kind of style. And I think the blinkers coming off might suggest that as well. Did you like him at all, Andrew?
I gotta tell a quick story about Howe Street. I bet this horse first time out at 16-1 when he finished second, and he was best. So this
Yep.
this horse owes me money, for sure, because this horse had to run into 3/4 in 1:15 and 3 in a mile and a 60 in a 1 mile race, just 1 mile on the Aqueduct Inner
Yep.
Turf course, which is almost impossible to do. So
Yeah.
yeah, I did play this horse first time out. I didn't play him the next few times just because he was short. So yeah, you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna get a price again. You're gonna get Pratt back. He's gonna stick with him. Some horses don't like the Keeneland turf, so I'll give the I'll
That's
give
kind of what I thought too.
yeah I'll give him part of my play for sure. And there's horses I'm scared of, but we'll look there. But yes, I do think this horse has a chance to run a real good race.
And the last horse I want to talk about, this horse, um, let's see, how can I say these things? This horse crashes me in all the time and is the most talented horse when I don't play it. Um, had probably the call of the year, in my opinion, by Tony Kalo, filling in for Jimmy McNerney at Turfway. Verstappen Red Bull gives you wings. Ever since that night, he's just turned into a freak. And every time I bet him, he runs second, he runs third, he runs fifth, he runs. Every time I don't bet him, winner, 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 winner. This horse hates my guts. I'm scared. I'm not going to take him. Maybe. I don't think so, but I'm going to have to include him, I guess, just because that's what he's going to do to me.
This horse is a little bit logical, I think. I just am worried that last time was the time.
Yeah, it might be. And that's kind of what my worry is, too. And let me ask you, Andrew. Now, see, I know you're not a guy of this, and you know that I like this sort of stuff. Do you know where the name comes from?
It's got to be some kind of European route, right?
No, it's a F1 Formula One driver named Max Verstappen who drives for Red Bull,
Oh, okay. Well,
and it
maybe his
and
last
and
name comes from one of those northern
it
European
could
countries.
that could be it. It might, and I think maybe it is from a Northern European. I think he is from, but even still, that's what they named it after. And oh, in that race call when he said Red Bull gives you wings, that's what he was talking about. Was that? So that was pretty cool, and I just wanted to highlight that here because I know people don't talk about race calls that often, but especially something from a lower level track. But yeah, I thought I'd highlight that here a little bit.
Yeah, Callow does his homework. One other horse I mentioned quickly was the Sixth Soldier Rising. He needs a pace in front of him, which I'm not sure he's going to get in this race.
Yeah,
I definitely think he's talented, and he might be the second best horse in the race. But I don't know if he's going to get the pace. I'm very concerned about that. And look, Mike Maker's always dangerous, but I always downgrade him a little bit in New York. Always a little bit.
yep.
So I'm going to do that in this
Well
race
said.
and
Well
hope,
said on both those horses.
yeah, I hope that the others run better. All right, we got to start get moving on here. We got the sixth race. We've got the Peter Pan, mile and eighth, one turn. I'm going to go back to a horse that I picked on top in the Wood Memorial, who is number 5, Classic Catch. He was
Yeah,
the only horse who closed anything in that race. So I'm gonna hope that he gets a little bit of a better pace. It's definitely gonna be a better setup today. I'll take the 5 Classic Catch. I kind of was between him and Shadow Dragon in the Wood. Gun to my head, I would have picked him. So I'll go back to him in here. I think 9-2 is fair in a field
yeah,
that's okay but not fantastic.
yeah. For me, in this race, I'm using a lot of umps here because it's not even inspiring in the Peter Pan. Um, I guess I'd have to take Bishop's Bay, and I really don't want to. This might be a pass race for me. I don't know. This field is the leftovers from Preakness, and that's putting it very poorly.
Yeah, I sort of agree. I'll look at it a little bit detail in a couple of days. I did have stuff to do today, so I'm not completely on the mark, but
Yeah,
I'm sure you all can help make your own opinions. My guy Clement has a horse in this race who definitely needs to improve. I don't know why he's in here, but he does go, and I do like Franco riding Clement. So we'll see what happens with that
yeah,
horse.
e- exactly. If there was any horse that I would actually endorse at a price, it would be that horse.
Okay.
So, going on from the stakes races of the day to the Megan Clan New York Red awful who cares races. I mean, they're still going to be able to cash though, so we got to pick them, right, Andrew?
Yeah, I'm gonna try a horse in this race, the seventh on the Widener. I like Donk's firster a little bit, pretty much because he's the only firster in the race. And Dave Donk, first time out, he's not known as being a first time out trainer. But he's also only a
Yep.
12% trainer, and his first timers are winning 11%, so he's pretty much being normal. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
fine. I'm fine with that, and I don't really love anybody else in here, so I'll take a little shot. I wish one of the Ortiz brothers was riding for Donk, just like Jose rode that horse today. That was a BS
Yep.
move by Donk. He totally made him look horrible in that last race. And now all of a sudden,
Yep.
the horse wins without being encouraged at all. Again, I mean, this race, you do not have to be good to win this race.
Yeah.
There are a lot of bad horses in
Uh-huh.
here.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, I'm picking two of them. I'm picking two bad horses here. I know they're bad going in. So for me, I know I gotta use the four. I mean, not the four. Sorry, yeah, the four. I gotta use the four. I understand that the four is gonna be tough, right? I know the seven's gonna be pretty decent as well. I think that horse could try to steal it on the lead. But let's see how crazy Andrew wants to get with this race. I know you picked the 12-1. Let me go to another 12-1 in the 10 War Princess or War Prince. Sorry, War Prince. Second time Lasix ran okay last time. Has turf breeding on both sides, and I think could bounce back today with Franco aboard. That one's kind of a little logical, but let's go to the outside of the crazy town. You ready?
Sure.
The sixth Academy Choice.
That's the one I thought you were going to
Um,
say. Yeah.
yeah, yep. Also ran in the same race as War Prince. Had a 6 wide upper, no impact. That was on dirt. And who? What race did Oscar Performance win?
Did he win the Belmont Derby?
I think he did. If he didn't, he won some of the big turf races in the country. So obviously, this horse needs turf. Out of Kenton's Joy on the back end of that Oscar Performance. And I think this horse can take a huge step up today. And I mean, look, let's be honest, everybody sucks in here in their own special way. So this horse has sucked the least amount to me. So that's why I'm taking the six as one of my main
Yeah.
plays
If I'm not going to bet
on
a
this
first
race.
time starter, I'm going to bet a second time starter. And both of these horses that
Exactly.
are coming out of that race, it was a race scheduled for turf. Left the horses in, gave them a workout, and now shit gets real. That's the way I'm
Yep.
looking at it.
Yep. Exactly.
All right, the eighth race. Dennis, anything?
Oh, sorry, I kind of cut out there. That's my bad. Um. Anyways, though, since technical difficulties happen, so for me, I like the 5 Sandrone because the speed's been holding up pretty well on the turf, especially sprinting at Belmont so far. And that horse might steal this race, so I understand that this horse is going to be tough. Um, I kind of like the 6, Hey Mac, it's Jack, which that's a great name. I mean, that's a fun name. Also, just an okay horse. I don't really want 3-1, but I think Iraq can get a perfect trip. Sit behind the 5, maybe make one move, and just try to draw off. Another one I think can make one move was the one Feathers Road. Blinkers coming on. Linda Rice to Jose Ortiz. Um, and second off the layoff, I think that horse actually could make a big run today. Did you like any of those horses, Andrew?
I actually liked all three of those horses, if anybody. So I'm glad you brought them up. Specifically, Feathers Road and Haymack It's Jack. Not that I love them, but they come out of this race right here, which I like to refer to as the Frank Sart race that made me a ton of money on July 9th of last year. That everybody who was on that video gave you out on this channel. So one of the best calls we ever made was with Frank Sart, and none of these horses are remotely as good as Frank Sart. But there's another old friend of mine in here, King Moon Racer, who decides to run a decent race once in a while. I think 10-1 is
Yep.
a low on him. He should be more than that. Yes, I do like the 5 because not only does speed hold, but especially this is the inner turf course, 6 furlongs. Speed definitely holds. He gets the same rider who did the same thing last time,
Hmm.
sent this horse to the lead. Rough Draft and Con Man, I don't really remember how good those horses are, and I really don't care. Because
Yeah.
I like horses that have intent, and this horse has intent.
Well, and two, I mean, even still with the 5 Sandrone, let's be honest. I don't know how good those horses are, but I know how good 22-1, 44-3, 56-1, and 107-4
Yeah,
is.
yeah, good point. Although I will say that the turf was playing very fast at that time at Aqueduct, which is a little grain of
That's
salt.
true. That is true. And I will say to add on to this last point, I do not like the 726 Black. I think that horse is kind of fraudy. I think 4-1. I know that's one of the lower end horses, but I think that horse might be up the track.
Okay. I don't really have an opinion on him. I watched his last race and I thought it was impressive how he got the hole just in time. My dad had a
Yeah.
bet on that race, so I watched the replay. That's about all I have to say to him. I'm not in love with him either, and he's going to need another pretty good trip to win this race.
Yep. Yep. So, Andrew, I guess lead us into the run happy, right?
All right, so this is the ninth race at Belmont Park on Saturday, May 13th. It's going 6 furlongs. I'm not saying the name of the race because you guys hear the name of this race a million times if you watch horse racing TV, and you just heard it from Dennis too. I like Candyman Rocket a little bit in this race. I have another old friend in here, and his name is Mr. Phil. And Mr. Phil got good for a time last year. And yeah, Mr. Phil, as soon as he went to Rob Atris's barn, look, he used to be a good horse, like just a real honest good horse. And then when he went to Rob Atris's barn, things just took off. And are we quite surprised that they took off? I'm not. I hope this horse isn't being abused. I really hope not. But he ran very well off the layoff last time. He got a relatively easy pace to take the lead, but I thought it was full of intent, and the track wasn't playing too fast that day. So I think 9-2 is a good price for him. I'll mainly be 4 and
Hmm.
6 in here. I think the 4 is a real good horse. I don't know what happened last time, but I expect better out of him today.
And that leads into why the four is my best bet of the whole card. Um, Look, sure, there's bet any horse can win this race. Let's be completely transparent with that. Anybody can win this race. Am I wrong in saying that? If I am, you can tell me.
No, anybody can.
Okay. If the four runs his best race, does he win every time?
I mean the 5's got a race that could beat him last time if you go just off buyers, but I've been throwing buyers out the window lately. So I'm gonna say yeah, he
That's what
probably
I'm.
does.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. So, it I see more ways that the four wins this race than loses it. And when it comes to that, I have to really say at 7-2, and this horse won't be 7-2. He'll go off favorite, in my opinion. Um, I think you'll get about maybe 2-1, 5-2. Maybe if somebody goes crazy, you might get 9-5. But I think this horse, it ignoring the last race, which I think was kind of not what he's really wanting to do, and that is actually run on a sandy type track like Gulfstream, Belmont, etc., Tampa Bay. Um, I think this horse's best race does win it, and I think he does get the job done tomorrow, on Saturday.
Well, there's your endorsement from Dennis, people. I hope that happens because this horse is going to be a very big key for me uh, on
Mm-hmm.
Saturday. So I hope that happens. Okay, we'll move on to the 10th now. And the 10th race, I want to point a few things out. Number one, I think,
Oh, let's see. I looked at this race, and when this race came up, I'm going to be honest. I thought, okay, Andrew's going to love this race.
yeah, I don't actually, because all the horses that
Really?
I would normally be interested in are too short. Yeah, the eight can win, the 9 can win, the 6 can win, the 1A can win. And then I noticed that something hilarious happened. And this horse I don't think can win this race. I just want to point something out, just for shits and giggles. This 5 horse trying my heart out.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, this horse, I bet this horse first time out, and I put her in my virtual stable. Put her in my virtual stable, and I kept her in there, and then she runs on the turf for the first time, and sort of walks the dog on the lead and wins at 23-1, and I don't have $1 on the horse.
Oh,
And this
well, that
horse,
sucks.
this little horse who has Jose Gomez up, all of a sudden is gonna get Frankie Dettori. What the hell is going on? I don't get it.
Andrew, listen. When we go crazy, we go crazy. I go crazy at least. And this is probably my craziest horse of the day because one race on the turf, I love this angle. Big purchase price, dirt breeding, one race on the turf wins it. Obviously, breeding matters to me. I think pedigree matters a whole lot. But when you take a dirt horse that does not run good on dirt and then try it on turf and it wins, to me, that says that they had no idea that the horse was a turf horse. And not saying that's a bad thing because it does happen. It means this horse is now actually going to improve to me. So 20-1, you get Dettori. I think it's a horse that I'm going to bet, and I think that you have to include. At least include in your multi race or in your exacta, trifecta, everything. Include it.
I'm with you because
Um,
if this horse wins, all those things are going to get blown up. Now, I should note this horse is also entered to run in the ninth at Monmouth the same day.
yes,
I hope that
yes.
doesn't happen. I really hope that doesn't happen.
Well, well, how else you going to earn your $400,000 back? You
Right.
can't
You
do it
should be
running at
running. You
Monmouth.
should be running in races like this. Exactly. And one of my favorite angles for long shots are long shots that won a race last time out, and that race is often a lower level race where they had things go their way. That's why they're a long shot.
Hmm.
That's why they're listed at 20-1 because they
Yeah,
have to prove that they can step up and run better.
yeah.
And why can't this horse run better? In a normal circumstance, I'd be over Chad. I'd be boxing Chad heavy. I'd be using Pletcher's horse, looks very logical. And then you've got Clement involved with the entry. So that's where I normally go.
Mhm.
I don't love any of those horses. That's the problem. I don't love any of them. None of them jump off the
Yeah.
page and say, "Oh, hey, bet me." So that's why
Hmm.
I needed to mention this horse.
And I agree. I kind of agree with that. There is one jumping off the page to me that I will also bet, and I know it's a price or whatever. Um, so let's play a game here real quick. I know we've taken up everybody's time, but let's do some fun. Would you rather? A classic game of Would You Rather. Would you rather have the sixth that's Chad Brown or the eighth that's Chad Brown?
Would I rather have the sixth that's Chad Brown or the eighth that's Chad Brown? It's very hard to decide. I really don't know because I'd rather have actually Franco
You
riding
can't say
Chad
that
than
in Would You
than
Rather.
Irad.
You can't say I don't know and Would You Rather,
You
Andrew.
know
Come on,
what?
you played this game at
All
least one
right, screw
time.
it. I like the six better of the two Chads. That's me.
Interesting. I like the eight a little bit better, but interesting. That's fair. I think those two are closer than this question. Would you rather have the nine that's the top Pletcher or the three that's the top Pletcher?
Not dependent on price.
Oh, I mean that does have something to do with it, but not even dependent on price. Sure.
Well, I like that Florida Oaks that the six comes out of, so I like the Florida Oaks that the three comes out of. It's the same race.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna be completely honest. We just said earlier the Kingland turf course can play weird and can play more speed heavy, at least this year it was. I would take the three at 3-1 than the nine at 6-1. So the fact that they're reversed, I mean, the nine might be better. The nine might get a lone lead, maybe. Who knows? I mean, that was a good race, sure. But I would much rather have the three as a racehorse, and even still at 6-1 than I would the nine. And I don't even think that's close.
Yeah, I understand. I think that the six horse ran a huge race in there to be so far back
Yeah,
and close it. I'm not far back in terms of distance, but had to pass a lot of horses in that race
yeah,
to be fourth. I think
I agree,
I
and
think
that
that
is
race
impressive.
I think that race is a little bit of a key race.
Yep. I was just wondering though, because I'm glad we had similar opinions. 'Cause like I said, the brown horses we could go back and forth on. That
Yeah,
can go both ways. I
I
think the
mean
Fletcher horses is so
normally I
obvious.
would take the Chad horse that has less starts.
Yeah,
Seriously, normally that's what I would do, but not in this case. In this particular
yeah.
situation,
So, I,
we
are we
finally
ready to
come
put
to
a
the
bow on
end.
this one?
I'm ready to put a bow on this with a stone cold single for me. And I hate single this horse because of the idiot who was on his back. But
No.
this race is about the four horse. And that's it for me.
Oh no. Oh no, I don't like that move. I mean, oh, that's a interesting one. Oh boy.
I'll give you my reasons, but you talk first.
Oh, I mean, I know what your reasons are. Clement was bet down first time out and going into state bred and claiming races. I mean, isn't that the reasons?
The reason is that I hate everybody else in here and I trust Christophe Clement more than anybody. Yes.
Okay, fair.
Sort of. So, sort of what you said. But yes.
Okay, fair. I mean, that's a good point.
I hate Joel Rosario, but everything else is fine. And I thought that the horse did not have a great setup last time.
I mean, that's fair. That is fair.
I think Gulfstream 5 furlong races are fake. That's what I think they are.
I
I,
do too.
I do not like any races shorter than 6 furlongs. I'm just not fans of them. I think they wind up funky. Sometimes you have races that collapse, but more often than not, it's whoever gets out of the gate first wins. So I hate those races.
Well, to that I say, my friend, you've never lived till you bet and watched a 4.5 furlong race at Charlestown. Anywho, um, so this race for me, I actually like another price in the eight. Mommy Joe Dreams. That's a stupid name, but has speed. Second time in for this class. Ran its best race on paper on this class. The turf race was probably its best race overall. Um, on a lost footing break and still rushed up and finished in the back. But I think this eight's going to have some speed, and you get a trainer change and a little bit of a layoff. First time with trainer, David Duggan is 26%. On a layoff, he's 25%. So I think that horse could actually improve a whole lot in this card, and especially this race. I mean, this race is bad. Um,
Yeah, this is an absolutely god awful race. I completely agree
which
with you.
that's why I don't love the four. Is not because the four's bad. It's because the price is a little rough, and it's going to be a whole lot rougher come post time probably. Um, so I like the eight. I also like the horse right outside of him in Central Speed. And I never thought I'd say this on a live stream, but I actually like a horse being ridden by Heman Harkey. That's a weird one to actually say out loud. Um, but yeah, it was a trouble trip last time, and I actually think maybe maybe can improve a little bit. Another one that I think deserves another chance. And then lastly, I think the other horse to try to include another kind of a risk horse is the six Irish Empress. Blinkers off. Kent Lasix first time. I don't know. That's just kind of reaching at the end there. But I'd have to try to use another horse in this whole race because it's so wide open that I would not want to be stuck with just a couple or even a single.
Yeah, I understand that. To me, my horse did jump off the page, and this is what I like to do normally when these kind of situations develop. And how I had my biggest score last year was doing this with a first time starter in a field that was so bad, and the first time starter went off at 30-1 and won the race. So that
Mm-hmm.
so I now this horse ain't a first time starter, but running at Gulfstream in a 5 furlong race, that was I still just think that was a stupid education. I don't think those races mean much of anything.
Yep.
I just think I trust a lot more than anyone else. A lot of these horses have had chances and chances, and it just
Yeah.
so uninspiring. I think all the horses you made a case for, I
I
like
totally agree.
of all the horses you made a case for, the 8 is the best of those cases, simply because this place is a choke fest, and this horse has gone to the lead before, and this time is going to get to go to the lead on the turf. You've got Freud as the sire who can sire horses on both dirt and turf. I don't care about that. Uh,
Yeah.
this horse is going to be stopping down the stretch probably, but will he be
Yeah.
stopping too quickly? I don't know. I could probably play a little bit of a 4-8 in here, 4-8 box, and you do.
And that's what I was gonna say too. Is I'm glad you said that was the one you liked the most because, like I said, that's my top pick in the race. But the another reason why I picked the 8 is the 8 has the easiest path to victory to me. It's a simple path. Unlike the 4 where I don't know what the horse really wants to do, or unlike the 12 who's ain't been out in a year, it's kind of, those waters are kind of murky to me. Or at least I know what I'm going to get out of the 8 is I'm going to the lead and I'm going to stop.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you.
So,
And I love the numbers for Duggan. I didn't know that he was that good, in both layoffs and with trainer changes. Wow, those are pretty exceptional numbers.
yeah. Yep.
All right, anything else you want to say to the fine people out there, Dennis?
Uh just thanks for having me again as always, Andrew. I'm glad we could do this. It's been a long time since we actually did a video together. Oh my God, it's been forever.
Yes, it has.
Thanks for everybody who's watching, and I mean, thanks for everybody who's followed me, and like I told Andrew, um, this is where I got started with all my YouTube stuff, and my this really took me off just a different way, and always glad that I could come back and sit down and talk horses with him and everybody else that listens in.
Well, thank you, Dennis. It's a pleasure having you here to have someone who's intelligent and who puts the time in to think about these races, and admittedly, a hell of a lot more time than I do uh, putting into these races and coming up with your opinions and well reasoned opinions. And it shows in the selections you give out and the ideas you have and the bets that you put out on your Twitter account. And if people decide to purchase, you get the results. And that's what it's all about at the end of the day.
Hmm.
And
Absolutely.
of course, very.
And thank you for that plug too.
Oh
Thank you. I
yeah, no,
appreciate it.
seriously. Try to find someone better than Dennis. You're really not. You're really not going to find
Yeah,
anyone better than
I,
him.
I I I appreciate that. And when you're judged by your peers and your peers all respect you, that's a very accomplishable thing that at least you can hang your hat on.
Yeah, and it's well deserved. So I
Yep.
hope that everybody has a good time betting Belmont on Saturday. Again, I'll be at the racetrack. Hopefully, it'll be a good time. It'll be my last time before going back for the 3 days of the Belmont Stakes Racing Festival. And in fact, this will probably be the last video until the Belmont Stakes Racing Festival. I do have a lot of stuff going on earlier in that week, so here's the plan, people. I'm going to do one video for the entire Belmont Stakes weekend this year. I'm going to record it on Wednesday, June 7th. I'm hoping to have a lot of people on, and we're just going to go through all 3 days as quick as we can, shout out who we like, maybe one or two sentences about why, until we get to
Mm-hmm.
the Belmont Stakes and the Met Mile and the Manhattan and the races that are going to need more time on Saturday. Maybe a couple races on Friday need some time to be talked about. But that's the plan, because between doing what I'm doing earlier that week and also going to the track all 3 days, I am not going to have time to do separate videos. So we're just going to do one giant one all together. I'm looking forward to that. That'll be an insane weekend. Should be very enjoyable. By the
Yeah.
way, this video is going up, probably will be out around midnight on Thursday into Friday. If anybody wants any pictures of horses at Belmont this Saturday, I'll be glad to take them for you and send them to you for free without any stupid names covering the horses. So if anybody wants pictures, let me know and I will take pictures of the horses for you for free. Uh, that's pretty much all I have to say, and as usual, thank you, Dennis, one more time, and
Thank you.
pay your bills first, and may the odds be ever in your favor.